Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a really fascinating strategy that honestly challenges pretty much everything we've been taught about the traditional education to employment pipeline. You know, if you've ever felt like that standard path just isn't quite working out for you, you're definitely not alone. We're going to explore how stepping outside of that usual box can lead to a truly independent, high-income lifestyle. Okay, let's dive right into this and see how to build a rock-solid foundation for real wealth. We've got a packed agenda today. We're covering the traditional path trap, finding your natural talent, choosing your digital service, the skill maxing loop, mastering your value positioning, and finally scaling with brand maxing. Let's jump in. Section 1. The traditional path trap. Let's look at why the old system is fundamentally flawed. Think about the typical roadmap most of us were handed growing up. Consider Joey. He's your quintessential success story of the traditional system. Straight A's, graduated top of his class, followed literally every single rule. But his day-to-day reality? He's super stressed over student loans, the rising cost of living, and he lives in constant fear that AI is just going to replace him. Now contrast that with Kai. Kai actually got kicked out of school for being disruptive. Since he didn't have a neat little path to follow, he had to start thinking independently. Today, Kai travels the world freely, has zero debt, and instead of being terrified of AI, he actually leverages it to make more money. And this is where the outcome of these two completely different paths gets pretty shocking. Joey, despite all his hard work and all those fancy qualifications, is earning around $5,473 a month. And that's actually a real average based on a survey of over 70,000 bachelor's degree grads. Kai, on the flip side, makes over 15 grand a month. Kai's path as a digital architect completely blows traditional methods out of the water. I mean, he earns almost 3 times more than someone who is 10 times more qualified simply because he paid attention to where the world was actually heading. Which brings us to Section 2, finding your natural talent. It's time for some talent maxing. If we want to achieve the kind of freedom Kai has, we really have to reject that old school system advice to just improve our weaknesses. You know, divergent thinking is basically the ability to come up with lots of original ideas. As 5-year-olds, an amazing 98% of us score at a genius level for this. But by adulthood, thanks to a highly standardized system that treats everyone exactly the same and forces us to just grind away at what we're bad at, that number absolutely plummets to just 2%. The traditional system literally trains natural talent right out of us over time. But hey, the good news, your innate talent is absolutely still in there. Basically, everyone naturally fits into at least one of 4 core talent categories. First up, the organizer. You're the one who brings structure to chaos and keeps everything running smoothly. Second, the analyst. You're amazing at breaking things down, spotting patterns, and figuring out exactly what works. Third is the communicator. You excel at explaining concepts, influencing others, and just getting people on board with a vision. And fourth, the creative. You just see things differently and connect dots that other people completely miss. Take a second right now and just mentally flag which one of these is your innate superpower. Because if you want to hit that $10,000 a month mark, you have to commit to only working in the zone where you have this massive natural advantage. Moving on to Section 3, choosing your digital service. Let's talk about how to monetize that specific advantage. Now that you've pinpointed your talent, you need a vehicle to actually deliver it. But before you just pick a random service, it's absolutely crucial to understand why businesses actually pay high fees. Here's the golden rule. Well, 3 of them, actually. Your service has to do at least one of these 3 things. It must make a business more money, save a business time, or save a business money. That's it. If whatever you're offering doesn't provide a crystal clear return on investment in one of these 3 specific ways, you're just never going to scale to a high end. So let's map this out into something concrete. We can look at 5 highly profitable services that perfectly align with those natural talents we just talked about. If you're a creative or an organizer, doing brand identity lets you increase a company's perceived value so they can charge more. If you're an analyst or organizer, AI automation is just massive right now. You're saving businesses a ton of vital time and money by automating the boring stuff. Deal making is a powerhouse for the communicator. You act as the middleman for sponsorships and directly drive real revenue. Then there's video editing, which leans heavily into creative and analyst talents to dynamically grow a brand's audience. And finally, funnel creation is an absolute goldmine for organizers and analysts, directly turning a client's existing traffic into actual paying customers. Honestly, the specific service you pick matters way less than making sure it hits those 3 golden rules and leans hard into your natural strengths. Section 4, the skill maxing loop. This is where we learn and earn at the exact same time. This is where we completely shatter the biggest lie young people are fed. This outdated idea that all your learning has to happen before you can start earning. To put this into perspective, there's this brilliant anecdote from our source material about a young guy who really wanted to be a videographer, but just didn't feel ready yet. So what did he do? First, he had to define his service, stripping it way down from being some grand creative agency to just simply editing videos for local businesses. Second, he had to sell. He went out there, pitched his service, and faced literally 99 rejections until a local caravan park finally said yes. Third, he had to deliver. Let me tell you, real-world pressure forces you to get good incredibly fast. Fourth, he had to fix his process, jumping in and using AI to remove those slow, repetitive bottlenecks. And fifth, he had to systemize. He brought in business management software, like Odoo, to reliably handle all his invoicing and client follow-ups. And just like that, he transformed from a scrappy beginner into a totally reliable professional. So why exactly do we call this a continuous loop instead of just a straight line? Well, because you don't just do it once. Every single time you finish these 5 steps, you circle right back to the beginning. Except this time, you aren't starting from scratch. You're coming back with way sharper skills, much higher confidence, a significantly stronger pitch, and way fewer bottlenecks. You're organically pushing your actual value upward with every single rotation. Section 5. Mastering your value positioning. It is all about selling the outcome. Think about this. 2 people can do the exact same work to the exact same level of quality, but get paid wildly different amounts, and it is based purely on perception and how they frame it. A standard freelancer sells a feature. They'll say something like, I design logos, or I build landing pages. It sounds kind of cheap, right? And suddenly you're just competing on price. But a digital architect, they sell the outcome. They say, I increase your perceived value so you can attract much better customers, or I turn your existing website traffic into paying customers. It's literally the exact same output, but this subtle mindset shift completely transforms you in the client's eyes. You go from being viewed as a cheap commodity to a highly profitable investment. You basically stop talking about what you do and start talking about what it does for them. Section 6. Scaling with brand maxing. Let's talk about building your ultimate authority. Now, this final stage is for those of you who want to push your wealth far beyond that initial $10,000 a month goal. Have you ever wondered why so many incredibly hardworking people hit that exact 10K mark and then just completely plateau? It happens all the time. It's because getting to 10 grand relies mostly on pure hustle and your underlying skill. But to scale up to $50,000 or even $100,000 a month, that requires building an undeniable personal authority brand. You literally have to become visible and be recognized as the absolute go-to expert in your specific space. A really perfect example of this in action is the creator Casey Neistat. He famously sold his company to CNN for a reported $25 million. But here's the kicker. CNN wasn't really buying a traditional business structure. There wasn't even a super clear plan for what they'd do with it. What they were actually buying was the immense, undeniable power of his personal brand. Now, you obviously don't need millions of subscribers to do this yourself. You really just need to clean up your social media profiles, make it glaringly obvious exactly who you are, what you do, and why you are simply the best at it. Having an optimized profile that acts as a beacon of authority makes you infinitely more valuable than a freelancer who's just blindly blasting out hundreds of unread cold emails. So I want to leave you with this final, really vital question. Are you going to stay a commodity, just waiting around for permission from the traditional system? Or are you finally ready to identify your true talent, build out your skill maxing loop, and position yourself as a high-value digital architect? The blueprint is right here in front of you. It's time to get out there, embrace the real world, and start actually building your future. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.